good and bad, it's always been about the work. And there's a body of work there, and I'm very proud of that. And now it's for somebody else to continue that work.
Will you be voting at tomorrow's caucus meeting?
Well, there'll need to be a vote first. That'll be a matter for colleagues, a matter for people whether there's more than one candidate.
What advice would you give the person who takes the role from you?
Well, only if there's more than one candidate.
But if there is more than
I'll
one
be at the
candidate,
caucus meeting.
you'll be there.
I'll be at the caucus meeting, and if there's a ballot, then I'll be participating in that ballot.
So just to be clear, you formally step down as of 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Correct.
And expect to hand over to whoever is the caucus.
Well, a new premier will be a new leader of our party, and a new premier-elect will be chosen at the caucus meeting around lunchtime tomorrow. I'm going to visit Her Excellency the Governor, who I've spoken to this morning. I will go and visit her later on today and provide her with the relevant paperwork, and my term in office will end at 5 p.m. tomorrow.
Did you call your good friend Anthony Albanese?
Yes, I've spoken with the PM.
What did he say?
Oh, he was a bit shocked, I think, but he wished me well, and I made a really important point. I think I thanked him for the fact that finally, at last, we have a Prime Minister who might be from Sydney, but he's not just for Sydney. He knows where Victoria is, he knows how to build things, he knows how to get things done. He's been a dear friend of mine for nearly 3 decades, and I said to him, you know, thank you for the partnership to this point, one that will only grow and become stronger and more meaningful for Victorian workers, Victorian patients, Victorian students, for everybody.
Are you confident that your successor will continue to build on your legacy and be able to maintain the support of the Victorian people at the next state election?
Well, that'll be a matter for them. They'll need to work hard, and they'll be, to the extent that legacy's an issue for them, because it's not really one for me, because I've worked this out a long time ago, and you might have a different view, you guys, but there's 2 types of people. There's people who fixate on these things, and they don't tend to build a legacy. They're all about themselves. I've always been about the work. Work hard and then work harder again. And the results will speak for themselves, and people will form their own views. And I'm not giving you a big long list, because quite frankly, self-praise isn't worth much. It isn't worth much at all.
If you had one thing you could do again, differently, what would it be?
Well, the thing is, James, you don't. I'm not a regretful person. I don't look back. I've always been, I'd like to think, I've always been focused on the future. I'm sure many people would have answers to that question, and they might run to more than one thing. But that's a matter for them. This is a democracy. I've never been about being 100% popular, because if you try and chase that, like I replaced that. We defeated that, right? If you try and be 100% popular, and you are essentially scared of doing anything that might upset anybody, you get precisely nothing done, and then you finish up deeply unpopular. I worked that one out a while ago too. It's for others to judge what I've done and not done, and you don't get a do-over, sadly.
You've mentioned not wanting to become resentful in your role. Had that feeling started to creep in?
No, not at all. But the kind of precondition for that, which is spending a bit of time, not a lot of time, because I don't have a lot of time, like you're pretty busy, but when you start thinking about, when thoughts of what's next and what if I wasn't, when they start to creep in, as I said, you owe it to the people that you love, who give a lot, and you most certainly owe it to the people you serve, to say, it's time. And you move on. And to make such an announcement and have absolutely all of you quite surprised by it.
What was your family's reaction?
They're very pleased. But at the same time, they have always been 100% supportive, and that's meant a lot of good times and some challenging times as well. For all that me doing this job has meant to them, I am deeply, deeply grateful.
When you depart the premiership, as you will you continue to cooperate with, say, the COVID inquiry that has been called by the federal government?
I'm a very cooperative sort of person, Simon.
Or any other inquiries that
I'm a very cooperative sort of person. And frankly, on some of these matters, you don't get to choose. Like, you were, and you always were. So you don't get to pick and choose. To the extent that I can be helpful on any of those matters, then of course.
Do you
Just
feel-
like anyone else, I'll be a private citizen.
Do you feel any sense of regret that the Commonwealth Games couldn't proceed through to what was initially envisaged?
Well, as I said at the time, we'd all prefer to have a games being held. Certainly Commonwealth Games authorities would, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to take billions of dollars out of hospitals and schools to pay for it. I just don't think that's right. And not everyone will agree with that, but I just don't think that's right. I'll take one or two more.
Victoria was obviously very progressive in terms of appointing one of the first female premiers in history. Is that something that you would like to see happen when your successor is elected?
Well, as I said, that's a matter for the caucus, but I will just say I informed the Cabinet at our meeting at 12 o'clock of the decision, and many of them are here, and it was with some considerable pride that I looked across that beautiful round table and saw that 2/3 of the members of that room are women. That's not always been the case, but it means we're a better government. It also means we have much better policy. I only wish that it perhaps got some better coverage in recent times. We have the most progressive and I think the most important women's health agenda in our country and arguably in the world. And I'd like to think that over time maybe more and more women will become aware of that.
You would like a woman to replace you?
No, I'd like to be respectful of the caucus process.
Will you be lobbying on behalf of anybody?
That would not be respectful of the caucus process. We've made many decisions over the journey, and this one will be no different.
So no phone calls, no messages?
I'll be making lots of phone calls, but they won't be about that. They'll be thanking many, many people for their support, for their faith and their trust, and it'll be for colleagues to make that choice.
What is your final message to Victorians?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Doing this job has been the honour and privilege of my life, and I have worked hard every day, never wasting a moment, to deliver our positive plans, to put people first, to do what matters. And I will always be grateful, always, profoundly grateful for the honour and privilege of leading this very special place.
Tim Pallas has also been treasurer for a long time. Do you expect him to follow you out the door?
No, he's got a budget to put together for next year. Work has already started on that, let me assure you. ERC is in full swing. ERC is in full swing, and it'll be a challenging budget. They always are, but he'll do that job very well. He's an outstanding Labor treasurer, a good friend, a great colleague, someone who's of our movement and of our party, and I singled him out for a reason. I don't think any of my colleagues who were not mentioned will have a problem with that, because he's been there from the start and he's done an amazing job.
What do you plan on
This
doing?
is the last one. Sorry. No pressure.
What do you plan on doing on your first day off?
I haven't quite thought that far ahead. That's not till Thursday, so I'll wait and see. But no, I've got no plans. There's nothing sorted or anything like that. I'll have a bit of time where I don't do very much at all and catch up on a few things, and then we'll see what the next chapter holds. But hopefully a portion of it at least will be continuing to serve our state and continuing to talk about reform and promote good ideas and good people, and to the extent that my experience will be useful, to share that with people, and so that we can keep leading and dealing. We can keep being the state that really drives our nation.
Do you envisage that to be a public sector or private sector type?
To be honest, I've spent a long time in the public sector, Rachel. I think it highly unlikely that I'll spend too much more time in the public sector after 5 o'clock tomorrow, because I've spent a long time. I've been privileged and honoured to be, in a way of speaking, a public servant for 21 years. Thank you all very much.
And you are watching 6 News Live with that incredible breaking news. Victorian Premier Dan Andrews has resigned. The resignation will be effective 5 p.m. tomorrow. That is what he has just announced at a press conference in Melbourne there. I'm Leonardo Puglisi in the 6 News Melbourne studios. Thank you very much for watching this coverage. And we're going to continue to stay on this incredible story. Look, it was always bound to happen in this term based on all the speculation, what everyone was suggesting, what other premiers and other leaders had been doing and resigning it, and now it has become official. Victorian Premier Dan Andrews has resigned. He will resign at 5 p.m. tomorrow officially. He'll be meeting with the state governor. Look, it's a big day. He has been in office for so many years, of course, elected as an MP in the 2000s, became Premier at that 2014 election, re-elected last year and also in 2018, and even his popularity had, according to polls, had been fairly decent for a third-term Premier, and the speculation was, when was he going to go? A lot of people were saying 2024, but it's 5 p.m. tomorrow. So at 5 p.m. tomorrow, 27 September, Dan Andrews will resign formally as Premier, and this state will have a new Premier. Let us know your thoughts. You're watching 6 News Live as we continue this coverage, but we'll work to keep following this, of course. The announcement coming after that Snap News conference was announced about an hour before, so that press conference starting at about 1:30 local time, or just after, I should say, and he's been speaking for about half an hour, so he just wrapped up there, as you might have seen. Again, in terms of the COVID leaders, there's 2 left. There's Anastasia Palaszczuk in Queensland and Andrew Barr in the ACT, and that is about it for them. Yeah, that's that. Let's take a look now. We're going to have a quick replay of what exactly the Premier said. This is his press conference in full, which finished up just a short time ago.
How are you all?
Yes, I am.
Cool. You're all good. Beautiful day. Okay, you guys right to go? Well, thanks very much for being here at short notice. 9 years ago, I visited Government House to be sworn in as the 48th Premier of Victoria. It has been the honour and privilege of my life. On 3 occasions, Victorians have endorsed me and my team in record terms. I'm very proud of that, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm also proud to think of all that we have achieved over these 9 years, in good times and bad, always working hard to do what's right, not simply what's popular. Every day has been about the only thing that really matters, getting things done. Today I will again visit Government House and resign as Premier and member for Mulgrave, effective 5 p.m. tomorrow. It's not an easy decision, because as much as we've achieved together, there's so much more to do. But when it's time, it's time. Recently, in talking to my kids and Kath, thoughts of what life will be like after this job have started to creep in. And I've always known that the moment that happens, it's time to go and to give this privilege, this amazing responsibility, to someone else. It's not an easy job, being Premier of our state. That's not a complaint, that's just a fact. It requires 100% from you and your family. That, of course, is time limited, and now is the time to step away. The only way that I know how to do this job is to have it consume me, to have it define me. To a certain extent, every waking moment is about the work, and that takes a toll. To have been Premier for 9 years and the leader of my party for 13 years is a greater set of opportunities than I ever thought would be afforded to me, a kid from the country with only really an aspiration to do good, to work hard, to work with teams of people to perhaps make things better. Can I say to you that the moment you're not comfortable with that choice, doing this job as a defining feature, your entire life pretty much, the moment you're not comfortable with that decision for you and the people that you love, then you have to step away. because you never want to get to a place where you resent this job, this amazing privilege and important opportunity. That would not be right, and I simply won't allow that to happen. As you well know, public life is about subjecting yourself to the judgment of others, and it will be for others to judge my time in Parliament and my years of leadership. However, I leave knowing that the housing statement, one of the most profound shake-ups in one of the most important policy areas, will guarantee that Victorians across the state have somewhere to call home. After all, what can be more important than that? I am now going to thank a number of people. Bear with me, it's a long list, and then I'll take a few of your questions. Firstly, can I thank my team? No leader, no Premier has had a better set of colleagues, people who live their values, people who work so hard for all Victorians. I'm deeply grateful to them. Two, can I especially thank my two Premiers, Steve Bracks and John Brumby, and of course the three deputies that have served with me, Rob Hulls, James Molino, and most recently Jacinta Allen. Can I also make a really important point? The relationship between a Premier and a Treasurer is unique, and I want to pay special tribute and make special mention of an outstanding person, great politician, and an outstanding Treasurer in Tim Pallas. To lead the most progressive branch of Australia's oldest political party for 13 years has been an honour. I thank the members and supporters of our party for all that they have given me. My staff, especially my Chief of Staff and Deputy Chief of Staff, Puglisi Ratcliffe and Jessie McCrone, two of the most outstanding political professionals that operate anywhere in our country. I'll never truly be able to say thank you to them. To Johnny McClendon before them, a dear and true friend, thank you so much. To each of the people who've worked for and with me, thank you for your passion, your commitment, your hard work, the fact that you are always there to do more and do better in the service of all Victorians. To Chris Eccles and Jeremy Moule and the many other public servants and officials that I've worked with over the years, your professionalism and dedication does you great credit. Thank you so much. To the men and women of the mighty trade union movement who work so hard every day fighting for the rights and the entitlements and the well-being of working people, it does you great credit, and I thank you so much for that. Your support has meant the world to me. Singling people out is dangerous, but I do want to single out one union leader. No member of the movement has had a greater influence on my work over 20 years than the ANMF's Lisa Fitzpatrick. Lisa, thank you for the faith and trust, for the belief and for the friendship. Speaking of nurses and midwives and others who work so hard to keep us safe, to the thousands of frontline workers that I have been privileged to meet and learn from, and that of course includes big build workers, your skill and commitment, your compassion, your hard work is quite amazing. Thank you so very much. To my Victoria Police Detail, some of the finest people that you will ever meet, I can't thank you enough. Fabian Alex has been my driver for 17 years, and that is a long haul by any stretch. Thank you so much, Fabian. Barb Cool has run my electorate office for about the same amount of time, and I thank you, Barb, for all that you have done. Olivia Harris has run my life for the last 10 years, an outstanding EA. Thank you so much, Olivia. To my family, to my mum and dad, to my sister, I couldn't ask for more. To Kath, she is my best friend, and none of this was remotely possible without her support, her guidance and her love. To Noah, Grace and Joseph, they know only politics. Dad has always done this. For all that that has meant, thank you. You are everything to me. To the people of Mulgrave, you are my constituents and my neighbours. I am proud to call Mulgrave home, and I hope that I have proven worthy of your support in the hard work that I have done over more than 2 decades as your voice in the state parliament. It is the best electorate in the state, and I can't thank the families of Mulgrave enough. Finally, the very best part of this job is meeting and listening to thousands and thousands of people from every walk of life, from every part of our state, from every background, from every point of view. I will be forever grateful for the honour of leading this very special place. I'm now happy to take a few of your questions.
Why did you promise to Victoria that you would serve a few terms?
Chanel. Sure.
Did you come to the decision, and what will you do now?
I came to the decision fairly recently, and I was very keen to get the housing statement done, but I knew as we got to the final stages of that it would perhaps be the last big reform that I did. Ultimately, once those thoughts of what it'll be like after, what life will be like after this role start to creep in, you've got a really important choice to make. You either kind of push on and ultimately, I think, potentially resent the job, and you just never want to do that. This is such a great honour and privilege. It's such a profound thing. You never want to finish up in a situation where you aren't enjoying the work and where you are resentful of the fact that you're doing this and not doing something else. I'm not at that point, but I'm determined never to get to that point. And having made this decision today, not an easy decision, but a really important one, I won't get to that point. In terms of what I'm going to do next, I'm going to have a bit of time off. I'm going to spend some time with Kath and the kids. I'm going to play a bit of golf. I'm going to read literally the pile of books that are sitting in the corner that haven't been read. I'm going to do a few things that are about me, and I'm going to go through what will be a fairly challenging adjustment period, I think, where I go from every minute of every day being planned out for me and spending literally every waking moment thinking about the challenges our state faces, the opportunities that they can be with hard work, all of that work. You know, I am worse than a workaholic. I'd spend every waking moment is about the work, and there's only so long you can do that for. So I'm looking forward to a very different pace and doing different things. And part of this is I don't know what I'll finish up doing, but I think at least a good part of it will be about trying to support Victoria to be strong and to be leading our nation. That's when we are at our absolute best.
Premier, during the election campaign, you were asked about whether you would serve the full term.
So you've got the one about I said I'd stay and now I'm not.
Yes,
Yeah, and it was true then, and I've changed my mind, Simon. And having explained to you in my statement and in my answer to Chanel's 2 questions, I hope that you have a sense that when it's time, it's time. And I don't think look. I'll just put it this way, perhaps. Doing this job requires a lot of hard work. It's not a complaint. It's just the nature of it. If you're going to do it properly. If you're going to do it to the best of your ability. And it requires a lot, not just of the person whose name's on the door. It requires a lot of the people that you love. And the moment you are thinking about what you're going to do next, what life would be like if you were not in this role, you owe it to the people you love, you owe it to the people you serve, and frankly, you owe it to yourself to make the difficult but important decision to move on and give somebody else the amazing privilege to work hard every day for the people of this great state. That's why I've changed my mind, because it would be wrong to do anything different.
Was it the family time that made you
a number of
change?
premiers leave after the COVID years, and it was sort of, I guess, thought that the leadership during that time perhaps cut their pretty short. Do you think that played into any factor, and also your back injury? Did that make sort of bring forward this decision? Or
Look, this is my decision, but it's not about me. It's about making sure that we have someone new to work hard every single day to deal with the challenges that we face, to keep our state strong and to keep our state safe. I don't. Perhaps you've not ever really understood this about me. Like, I've never complained about the fact that we had to deal with fire and flood and a 1 in 100 year pandemic. That's the job. The job is dealing with all comers and all issues. And it's not an easy job. If it was easy, it would be nowhere near as important as it is. So I've never once complained about what we've had to deal with. That's just life. That's where we're at. But I only know one way to deliver against those challenges, and that's to do the right thing, not to try and be pandering, listening to the loudest voices, trying to be popular. You know, that's not worth much. It doesn't last, and it's not what's needed. So, no, those decisions have not, fast forwarded the timeline. I've done this for 9 years. That's a good long run, and I'm deeply grateful, and I will always be profoundly grateful for the support of the Victorian community, and for, in so many ways, the literally thousands of different discussions I've had with people where they do the talking and I do the listening, and you soak up their wisdom and you become a better politician and a better person because of the amazing work and the amazing stories that make up the story of our state. That's been a great gift, and I don't know how to say thank you adequately for that, but thank you.
What are you most proud of?
Legacy is for other people to determine. As I said, I could have stood up here and done a big long laundry list of things. That's for you guys to work out and for others to work out. I haven't done it for those. I'm not in this for those reasons. Others, and that's what leadership's about. Leadership is about subjecting yourself to the judgment, the almost continuous judgment of others, and you know that going in. That's what it's about, and it'll be for others to judge my time in the Parliament, my time as a local member of Parliament, and also my time in different leadership roles. I just say to you, I was 38 when I became the leader of our party. It looks a long time ago, and it seems even longer. 13 years, my colleagues have blessed me with support and loyalty and hard work, and the people of this state have blessed me with their support on 3 separate occasions where our seat tally went up. Not something that's ever happened before in our state. We have more members of Parliament today than we had when I became the leader, all these elections and all these years later.
There have to be some highlights though.
Well, what I'll say to you is this: if I think about it, and I did give some thought to this last night, best and worst moments. It's National Police Remembrance Day on Friday, and among the very worst moments in this job was speaking to the families of the 4 officers who died. And from a best experiences, none of you were there. It happened Thursday afternoon when I got on the test train at Metro Tunnel with no media, and I went from Arden and I travelled underneath the city at 80 kilometres an hour on a train that was made right here in Victoria, through a tunnel that's getting very close to being finished, all because of the good work of Victorians. And I stopped at each station and I got off and I thanked all the workers, and they talked to me, and the sense of pride in what they'd built. That's right up there with the very best of moments, because it's going to change our city. And it's not readily apparent, because it's not like a building that springs up out of the ground. It's literally underground. And when the Victorians get to see what I saw on Thursday, I think they'll be very, very impressed.
You knew in that moment, Premier? You knew in that moment that was...
Oh, I think it was... I've made my mind up in the last few days.
Has anyone tried to talk you out of it?
Well, 1 or 2. But there's an old saying in politics: go when they're asking you to stay. It's really important. It's really important.
Who would you like to see?
In terms of who will be the next Premier, well, the next Premier will be determined by the caucus and all the membership